and welcome to Teens Should Know, the show where we listen, learn, and grow. Teens Should Know, the TSK show, is where teenagers are empowered with the right knowledge to thrive, and parents are equipped with the tools to guide them. Because when teenagers know better, they do better. My name is Ifoma, the Prof. Nwato, and I'm your host on the TSK show. On today's episode, we are going to be looking at something very important that every other person will be interested to listen to. They say boys don't cry. They say to the boy child or to the man, man up. They say be strong, but what does that strength really mean for the boy child? Behind the playful smile and confident stride, there are silent battles, emotions tugged away, questions left unasked, and pain buried deep inside of them. So today on the TSK show, we'll be breaking the silence. We are peeling back the layers of what it means to be a boy in today's world, where vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness and emotions are locked behind a curtain of expectations. So we are looking at the topic, the silent battles. What are these silent battles? The emotions boys hide, because the society will tell them, be a man, man up, boys don't cry, boys are strong, boys are not weak. So today we are joined by a young boy with a voice that deserves to be heard, not just as a guest, but as a mirror to many other boys who feel the same but don't know how to say it. So this is not just a conversation, this is a call to listen, to understand, and to empower, because to truly help boys thrive, we must first hear their silent battles. We'll go on a short break, and thereafter, I will introduce our guest to us. Please stay tuned.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome back to Teens Should Know, the TSK show where we empower teenagers to thrive. And with me on the show today is a voice we need to hear. A young, bold, and expressive young man, Okolo Collins Chidubem. You're welcome to the TSK show.
Okay, thanks for having me. I am very glad to be here, I must attest.
Are you fine today?
I am very well, thank you.
You're happy to be here,
Certainly,
right?
who wouldn't?
Okay, so you're going to be talking on behalf of the boys today.
Okay.
All right. So what does it mean to man up? You know, you hear it most of the time. So what does man up mean to you, and how often do you hear this man up?
Okay, being in the Nigerian society where man up is defined as many things, it is not something you don't hear often, because this is Nigeria we are talking about, and even in the world at large. But let's speak on the environs we are being surrounded with. In Nigeria, as we all know, we always hear this phrase that we should man up, that this and this and that is what society says. And that is what society says. Actually, it is not meant to be so, but because you hear it from friends, you hear it from family members, they are always telling you to man up, that this is what this should be. It's something you hear regularly. Let me say, a day has 24 hours. You barely hear it 24 times in a day, meaning that you hear it barely every hour. Every time something happens to you, everyone be like, man up, you don't have to do this, boys are expected of this, boys are expected to do this, which is certainly not meant to be so. So for that phrase that you should man up, it is something you hear frequently. It is not something that is not very obvious. Its obviousness is very noticeable.
Okay, so to you, what does man up mean?
Okay, I think that man up, in my own definition, okay, according to me, is a situation whereby you are told that, okay, this is meant to be this way. You don't really have to be down, you don't have to be depressed, or you don't have to show your emotions and anger and all of that. You certainly have to meet their expectation and not actually express your own feeling, which is not meant to be so. Because according to me, I think that what they mean by man up is that you should always, okay, meet their expectation and don't let things that are weighing you down be obvious in you, that even you should smile through your pain and even not show any form of remorse for anything, that you should always be a man you are expected to be.
Okay, so it means like bottling up
Yes, exactly.
even your pain and smiling through it. That's what the society expects from the boy child. Have you been in situations where you wanted to cry? You felt like letting it out. You know, there's sometimes some situations can be so overwhelming, so frustrating, but you didn't or you couldn't because someone might say, be a man. So what did you do instead of crying and letting it out?
Okay, since you're trying to be relatable, here comes relatability. So let's take a classroom scenario as an instance. Imagine you being flogged now and then as a teenage boy growing into a man, and then being looked upon by many eyes, both of your classmates and all of that. Certainly you'll be given this insight that you are not meant to cry. Of course, even at home, maybe you are sick or something, definitely they will be like, when you are lying on the bed, they'll be like, aren't you a man? Why are you like being so sluggish like women? You are even meant to be strong at every time. So that is what it's like. They expect you at every point in time to show your strength, your superiority. You should never for a second feel or show your inferiority. That is what society demands from you, and for that reason that it has been there for quite some time, it is now like very normalized that everybody has it in their mind in store that this is what is expected of the male child, and they even made a rule for it. In case you were not informed, they now have rules of masculinity whereby they even made the first #1 rule that men don't cry, and you don't show your feeling except when you are filling up a space in the coffin or showing your emotional grief or something, which is indeed something I don't advocate for.
Okay. So do you think that people treat boys differently from girls when they are upset, struggling, or feeling low? So what does that mean to you, and how do you feel about it? Because you say you're not an advocate of that.
Of course I am not, because even if you look in our Nigerian setting, certainly they do celebrate our girls often. We have our Girls' World Day. Everything is focusing on the girl child. But I also believe that a vast number of people are not oblivious of the fact that the boy's child also need attention, because they say that lack of communication, it kills interest. So even in our family setting, you notice that the fathers are out there struggling always to make both ends meet and also trying to provide and make sure everything is going well. But they should also take into consideration that, okay, that my children might be going through a lot, or they might be having depression and things they might want to talk about. And certainly when you have someone, you are going through something and you don't have someone to talk to, this might bring much depression. At times you start transferring aggression to people whom are not certainly like responsible for your problem, which is like it's not meant to be so. So I think that when the boy child has someone listening to them, someone they can cry to, someone they can maybe tell how they feel. At times pouring out your emotion helps to solve problem, because they say often that a problem you share with the right person is half solved. So even if it's not fully solved, it is half solved in some extent. So if you as a boy child should pour out your heart to someone, at least getting their advice, even not maybe getting a final solution, at least you'll be very confident that someone cares. Yes, that you are not alone in this journey. So
that's beautiful. So I want to ask, have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to talk to somebody like, I have this challenge, I'm going through this, there's something so personal to you, but because you don't want to look weak, you don't want to look soft, and you bottled it up because of the man up, the be a man stuff, so you have to like bottle it up. But have you been in that situation where you want to talk to somebody, something personal, but you couldn't because you don't want them to feel, he's weak, he's soft?
Okay, like I stated that ab initio, I'll keep using myself as instance because we are trying to be relatable here, and this relatability. I'll keep using a family setting for instance. Imagine maybe something happened in school, and then I felt very bad because I'm a student, so I'll still be using school references and all of that. And then I'm planning that when I get home, I'll tell my mom or something, but it has never crossed my mind to tell my dad. My dad is actually a man, right? But I feel like for him having this mindset that I'm a man, there are things I should buckle up by myself. I'm not meant to express it. Even if when I'm feeling that pain in me, I should just maybe cover it up with a smile. Then, because when people say that behind most smiles, there are very big depression hidden beside. I think they're actually making a point, especially when it has to do with the boy child. Because in this case, maybe you want to tell him you already planned, but then on seeing him coming back from work, then you might have a change of thought that, what if I tell him this and he doesn't see it from my own perspective? Wouldn't that show weakness? And you are very certain that maybe in some situations before you have told him something like that, and he was like, is this what you wanted to tell me, or this something not serious, or so? Yes. And you know, when things like this happen, it wouldn't give you the zeal to tell him next time. at least there is a type of dexterity he would have used to handle the skill. And you'd be like, oh, this person understands me. I am very ready to tell him whatever it feels like. Apart from that, even young adults who are around you, whom are men, when you speak to them, they'll be like, they don't want to see maybe any feminine traces in you. They want to see that fierce tiger nature in you that you are always meant to be buckling up and showing your superiority, being a world we are in today.
Okay. So what do you have to say to someone who believes that being emotional makes a boy less of a man or less human?
Okay. Although decisions of people are not meant to be countered, but what it is very bad that you are seeing things not from the right way. Because before you're actually a boy, you were first human.
Of course.
So before you even grow to, and you know teenage age is even where this boy of a thing comes in very much. Because then you are still battling with, if you are still a child or you are going into adult, you want to do things they do and all of that. Then someone is there telling you that not to cry. Are they also not like aware of the fact that crying at times helps to relieve pain? And even some people tell you that it is okay to cry when things hurt. But we should also be careful not to cry for the same reason again. So that is it. In as much as we are also talking of the boy child, you have to balance everything to be commensuratable. So someone telling you or walking up to you, telling you not to cry, even though you're a boy child, I think that is naivety.
Okay.
Because, yeah, if you are very experienced and you are, maybe you are someone with empathy, you will certainly understand that a boy was once a human before he grew into a boy. And certainly following the modulation of life, you ought to crawl before you start walking. You don't just be given birth to and you start moving faster than a Bugatti. So that is it. Crying does not show weakness. Rather, it shows that it hurts and you want to pour out your heart, because depression is one thing that it dips like a cankerworm into human. And crying might tend to ease it for a number of people. I'm a science student and I believe that scientists has proven that tears help to reduce depression, anger, and agony and all of that.
Beautiful. So crying is not something unusual.
It's part of
it
growth.
Doesn't make you a less human. Yeah.
It's part of growth. It makes you
part
more
of
human.
Growth. It makes you more human. So, Collins, do you think society already decided who you're supposed to be as a boy, even before you get to make a choice for yourself?
Okay, that's a very sensitive question. But if I must say, I would say that because I do like going by motivational quotes a lot. A popular saying which I enjoy often once had it, and I quote that you shouldn't let your environment define you.
Wow.
Society has made it very standard that this is what the shape of a boy's child should look. There are some age where you hustle in order to make a better future for your family. And that is what is giving most girls. I'm not trying to be gender biased now, but most girls would be like, I want to marry rich men. That means are the ones that are meant to provide.
Or take care of them.
As a lady, you also have to be productive. As a lady, you also have to be helping out, because the society has defined the future of the boy child even before he was born, which I certainly think that it ought not to be so. As a boy child, your future has been defined, but it is left for you to redefine it.
Bam.
So you have to redefine your future.
I love that.
In the sense that, okay, this is what you expect of me, but I'll add more to it. Because Roosevelt had it, and I quote that, you should ask not what you can do for the future, but what you can contribute to the future. So that is it, that you should ask what you can do for the future. This is already stated, but I'll make impact. I'll make them feel my changes so that they'll believe that in me, I'll be the change I want to see around.
Beautiful. I love that. You redefine it for yourself. Because the society have already set a standard for the boy child. So do you think, or what do you think rather, what happens when a boy doesn't fit into this standard that society have set for them? You know, there's this, even in career choices, people believe that there's a career a boy shouldn't go to. A boy should love sports, a boy should do this, a boy should be tough. And what do you think happens when a boy doesn't fit into what the society expects of them?
Okay, let's start with the career aspect first. Go to nursing school now, you see a lot of girls studying nursing, quite okay. Then if you're a guy and be like, I want to study nursing, they'll start looking at you like, what happened to being a doctor and all of that? You know, boys and a lot number of people, I'll use us as references, we always like this authoritativeness, because as a nurse they assume that you are under the doctor, yes,
yeah.
while you have the nurses have to be under you. So starting from the career, they think that you don't fit in there properly, that you deserve better. That is what they think. And as regards to sport, maybe once they don't see you engaged in any sport like football, tennis, and badminton,
Football in particular.
football precisely, they start seeing you as maybe someone with feminine traits and all of that, which is indeed not falling in line with what is supposed. So someone in this aspect might be discriminated, or this is what make most of people to crawl back into their shell, feeling like that they don't feel among. Their sense of belonging will be gradually reduced, which is never, never, never okay to them. And also, I think that this is actually a thing of conscience. You should learn to understand where people are fitted in. Because most people don't like football or sports. That doesn't mean that they are not still men enough. No, it means like it's not their thing. Some people tell you that something is not actually their thing. That is it. And for the career choices, any career is okay, both by a boy or maybe the girls say that whatever we can do, they can do.
They
better.
can do it much better.
Much better. They even added the much in the superlative form of it. So whatever career they think they can do, we can actually do it as well. So all this is just a gender bias something, whereby you feel like, okay, that this is what it's meant to be. It all depends on what you fed your mindset is, because you definitely become what you feed on.
Okay.
So
it's been an interesting conversation with you on this show today. Do you think telling boys not to show their feelings can make some of them hardened and sometimes lead them to becoming bullies, emotional numbness, they don't feel anything? Because let's use the home for an example. You see where in the homes, the boys believe that this is meant to be for my sister and not me. And you see some of them bullying their younger ones because they want to feel actually like, I am the strong person here, I am the man here. So do you think that telling a boy child that you're supposed to man up, that kind of bottle up your feelings, don't show your feelings, can make some of them hardened and lead them into this bullying and emotional numbness and the rest of it?
When you are being given birth to as a boy child, you already have power. But you know that power tends to corrupt. But absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yes, you know that already. So what I'm trying to insinuate in this juncture is that, okay, most people were not born to be tough or maybe to be bullies and all of that. Something really triggered that. They were inspired by something because maybe they used to be so lonely, left out, or maybe cautioned not softly. They are being always like shouted at, like no one understands them. They don't see things from their own opposite side of you, which is seriously downgrading. So in that case, maybe they'll feel like, okay, since this is what you expect of me, I'm even going to do it more than you could ever imagine. And then this tends to push them way beyond the wall. And then you see them going out of box, doing things that you couldn't have imagined. And then at the end, they start blaming them for the problem without even tracing the root. Because if you go to trace many roots of many problems, you see that it is actually not their fault. This is something they were pushed beyond their limits. Just like elasticity in physics, they have been stretched beyond, compression. So that is it. Something can actually trigger something. If you do not treat boys with gentleness, kindness like the female, they might tend to grow up to become top men. That is why most men grow up to become women beaters and all of that, because certainly most of them lack parental love. They were not brought in a family that had love in it. So they grew up to become angered people. They have this bitterness within them that any small things, they are already provocated. That is it. So most problems of our societies today that are caused by male, even those in the prison rehabilitation center, this is because they lack the due love that they were meant to in their childhood. So they never had a good childhood. Their childhood was filled with horror, watching parents fight, being dejected and shouted at. And at the end, it made them not just bullies, but many committers of vices and perpetrators of injustice.
It's been an interesting one. And now let's look at what are some of the rules, unspoken rules that boys are expected to follow at home, at school, the society, because they are boys. There are some rules that we don't actually voice out. Some of them are unspoken, but they are lying under. So what are some of these rules that the boys are expected to follow?
Okay, like I told you before, they even propounded rules for it, which has certainly some they might be said to be added to the Nigerian Constitution. And maybe say it was amended in some way. So there are many rules that boys are expected to follow. Apart from the crime, which is universal, there are other rules, like even when you come to color, they'll be like, this color is expected of a boy, and this is expected of a girl.
Like what colors?
Okay, let me take, for instance, you as a guy now wearing pink, it will be giving them like feminine vibes and all of that. They expect guys to be more of white, whereas black and all those colors that depict masculinity and all of that. And also, apart from the color aspect of it, they expect you as a boy to show superiority. You were born a king. Do not reduce yourself to a queen or a servant. No, that is how society wants you to behave. Don't reduce yourself. You have been made this. You keep on going higher and higher and not lower. Apart from the superiority aspect, they don't even expect you to be vulnerable. They expect you to be a constant and rigid decision maker, in the sense that whatever you are doing shouldn't bring regret. And even if it does bring regret, that you should treat it so manly, that you should never let anything tear you down. You are built with great potentials and all of that, that whatever you are doing, you should stay fixated and don't let anything despair you, which is questioning their mental health.
Yeah.
Like, because you see most of them walking, wearing cheerful smiles, but if you should go
Deep
further,
down.
yes, to see what is behind the smile, you notice that that is where what they say, that all that glitters are really not gold.
Good. Oh, wow.
And many more. Just to mention a few, I'll say.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Collins, for sharing your thoughts and ideas on this show today. Viewers at home, you've heard it from a boy himself. The silent battles are real, and the pressure to man up often leaves the boy carrying more than they should. But here's the truth. Being a boy doesn't mean being emotional. It means being human. Like he said, we are first humans before we became anything. And every boy deserves the chance to feel, to speak, and to grow without fear. We are not done yet. We are going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about what boys truly need to thrive and how we can help them make that happen. Don't go anywhere. This is the TSK show, and we are just getting started. Stay tuned.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Hello and welcome back to the TSK show. Before the break, we opened up a powerful conversation about the silent battles boys face and the pressure to man up. Now we are going even deeper. What do boys truly need to grow into whole, healthy young men? What can we do differently going forward in our homes, in our schools, and in our communities at large to support the boys better? Let's keep listening, keep learning, and keep the conversation going. Our guests have been so amazing, and we'll be hearing more from him in this segment. So, Collins, there's something I want us to talk about, though not really related to the topic today, but it still has to do with this boy child. And recently, there's a news over the social media that a boy of 18 years impregnated 10 girls within 5 months. Did you hear that story?
Actually, I deleted my Facebook because of preparation for my JAM results and all of that. But then when I re-downloaded my Facebook back, that was the first notification that popped up. And then going to the comment section, I saw many people heralding such art. You needed to see the comments. It had many comments because, Nigerians know how to celebrate things that are not worth celebration. Many people were like that the boy is really growing up to become a very fierce man and all of that. The comments were quite degrading and all of that, although I'm not trying to counter the opinion, but what is worth doing is actually worth doing well. So, such attitude, the boy, maybe it was because of the things he was exposed to while growing up. Maybe he was exposed to sexual immorality at a very young age, and maybe he started practicing them, even being oblivious of the impact. And when the consequences were out, maybe that was when reality dawned on him, that he's really, really into the mess. And then him going to the media and seeing such comments of people heralding him, he'll be like, actually, this is not a crime. I can see many supporters and advocates for me. So I think I should even do more, because to whom much comment is given, much action is expected. So that is it. Because when you do something bad and then get cautioned or something, you might be like, oh, it deserves a change. Or maybe I can do better than this. But when you go there and see that the number of people that are actually standing by you, telling you that, like your own Odogu rate is much more than you can imagine, you'll be forced to do more. And many people whom are watching, viewers and even younger ones, might be like, Wow, so Nigerians actually applaud bad doings. That means that we can actually do more. So when they get to that boy's age, there are many yet unfold things that the younger ones might tend to do.
So in this case now, who do we blame? Is it parenting or the society? In the case of this boy.
Okay, both deserve to be blamed, but one must be blamed more than the latter.
Okay, so
So family being the first agent of socialization, that is even where you first get your first treatment, your first nurturing, your first advice. If you have a parents whom are always around you, telling you that this is what you do and this is what you ought not to do, and also you live in an environment where people around you are like, they are so conscious-minded, they don't do things out of to hurt others or something. So if your parents are the types that are always closer to you or something, they must have imbibed this, how will I say, this discipline in you, that you would have self-control regardless of your feelings and all of that. So that is what it should look like. And even the person as well, because all this is an individual something.
of course.
At times you notice that most parents try their best to curtail their children's essences, but they end up at growing up to become wide. Because at times they will pop up this debate that children are actually to be blamed for their, parents are to be blamed actually for their children's misconduct. But that might not actually be so, because some children are just naturally stubborn. It only takes an incessant advice, discipline, and even at times punishment and all of that just to curtail them, because if some of them are not curbed of their essences, they will actually grow up to become white. So for someone like that who must have done this, an 18-year-old boy whom is actually, he just, would I say, is quite trying to step into adulthood, if he should start this way, it is really not going to end well, because if you can do this at and 18 years of age, when you get to the 30s, or you might done things that are unthinkable.
He will break the Guinness World Record.
As he has done already, because it's already trending on all media.
Okay, how important is it for boys to have people who listen to them without judging them? People who will help them believe in themselves, discover their purpose, and as well support them. How important do you think it is for the boy child?
Okay, let's start with judgment. You know, judgment is one thing. I would say it is a criterion that matters a lot, because I might want to tell you something, and maybe in the course of our discussions of friendship, I might have told you something earlier which you went forward to broadcast, or after telling you, instead of you to give me advice, you were giving me reasons to see that what I did was actually bad. At times people do bad things, but instead of us to judge them, we'd rather try to advise them. Because you judging them without profiling solution has done nothing. That is why most people don't like most prophets, because they'll tell you your problem without giving you a solution. So that is not meant to be so. This judgment of a thing, it all depends on individual. For someone to must have tell you their problem, that means that they confide in you, they can vouch on you. So for that reason, you shouldn't let them go empty-handed, or make them see reasons that they are not human or something. So for a boy child or a growing teenager, precisely a male child, to come to you and tell you that, okay, this is how I feel, I'm going through this, maybe emotional or something not emotional, you should be like, okay, giving him reasons to see that it is normal. It is okay to feel this way. But what matters is, how do we control this feeling? Do we let this feeling elude us, or do we show the feeling that we are actually more than it? So this judgment of a thing is actually telling the right person, because some people are just so gullible. They are inexperienced in some way. So you telling them your problem, they will start using it against you, or start trying to make it go viral, or even start threatening you with the problem you told them, instead of giving you solution, which has made many people to die in silence instead of voicing out how they feel.
Okay, that's beautiful. So we are encouraged to not to judge, but to proffer solutions and give the right advice to the boy child. I know a boy somewhere maybe watching us at this point and following and listening to you, and I want you to talk to that boy listening to us right now, who might be feeling lost, confused, or pressured right now. So what do you have to tell him about who he is and who he can become as a boy child?
Okay, let me say this before I actually start giving out my advices. You should first of all know that you should grow up to become someone. You should have this characteristic. You should have empathy. You should have chivalry. You should have content, and you should have character. If you go about this four characteristics, automatically you see yourself becoming a better man.
Okay.
So for you as a boy child, definitely you grow into a man. There is no type of prayers or fasting or vigils that can bridge that. No, it is a sequence of life. So you will automatically reach that stage. But what matters is how and what difference do you make at that point in your life. So what it's going to look like is that you as a boy child certainly should start at this your teenage age to decide what your future is going to look like. Because one thing is to dream and another thing is to achieve. So if you as a boy child would say that, okay, this is what I want my future to look like, I'll be a boy that will make a difference, I'll advocate against gender inequality, I will have a peaceful home, I'll be a boy child that will tell my growing up sons that they are allowed to feel, that they are allowed to cry and also pour out their heart. I will also make sure that every male child around you, precisely not your son in the future, have this sense of reasoning that it is okay to be emotional. It is okay to pour out your heart. It is okay to be a boy child that's growing up not just to become a man, but to become a better man. That knowing that being good is not only for his common good, but also for the good of all. So that is what it should look like as a boy child.
Oh, wow, 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 wow. Today on the TSK show, we talked about something many overlook, the silent struggles of the boy child. Boys are taught to man up, to hide their emotions, to stay strong, but that silence comes at a cost. We truly want boys to thrive. We must create space for them to feel, to speak, and be heard. Being a boy doesn't mean being without emotion. It means being human. And to every boy out there, you are enough. And to every adult listening to us, I think it's time we stop expecting the boy to carry it all alone. We should give them a safe space and create a safe environment for them to thrive. And I encourage the boy child out there listening to us to join a community where teenagers are empowered to thrive, and also get yourself a teens coach or a mentor to help you navigate your adolescence challenges. You can send a DM or follow me on my social media handles, Ifeoma the Prof Nwato, on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you so much, Collins, for sharing your story with us today. It takes real courage to be open, and you've shown us what strength really looks like. And to all the boys watching us today, remember it's okay to be yourself and to show how you really feel. You are not alone. You are stronger than you know. Keep being you. Ifeoma the Prof Nwato is my name, and I'm your host. This is Things Should Know, and that's a wrap for today. Remember, knowledge is power. You have been empowered with the right knowledge to thrive. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep showing up for yourself. Catch you next week, same time on Things Should Know. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.